This episode is sponsored by Law Tiger San Diego. If you or a loved one is injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS for a free case evaluation. Hello and welcome to The Scenic Ride, a podcast where we explore some of the best motorcycle rides in North America and beyond. I'm Sana Bowman, and I started this podcast because my brain is broken. All I want to do in life is plan motorcycle road trips, go on motorcycle road trips, and talk about motorcycle road trips. And as it happens, this Friday, May 24th, is National Road Trip Day. So for this episode, I wanted to revisit one of my favorite places I've ever ridden, and that's Alaska. It's obviously a massive state, so we're just going to focus on a small part of it for today. My very special guests are Michelle and Marcus, who run Alaska Motorcycle Adventures, so stay tuned to hear my interview with them. But first, let's get into it. If you know me, you know I have a long bucket list of places and roads I want to ride before I die. A few years ago, the place at the very top of that bucket list was Alaska. I had this almost physical urge to head to the last frontier. I can't even tell you where it came from. I spent so much time looking up photos of snow-covered peaks towering over clear blue lakes with flowers blooming along the shores and bears feeding in the water, and I just knew that this was a place I needed to go. I was doing most of this in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, so I wasn't able to actually plan an Alaska trip then. Much of the US was on lockdown and the Canadian border was closed, and if you're riding from the lower 48 up to Alaska, you have no choice but to go through Canada. But then a few months later, this amazing opportunity just fell into my lap. Bree Poland, who at the time was heading up marketing for Royal Enfield North America, hit me up and asked if I was interested in going on a trip with Royal Enfield to Alaska. And of course I said yes immediately, before I even knew any of the details. I owned a Royal Enfield Himalayan at the time, and they were inviting a few Himalayan owners and brand ambassadors on this trip of a lifetime. Royal Enfield would trailer our bikes to Alaska, and we would fly into Anchorage and then spend almost 2 weeks exploring some of the best riding in the state, both on-road and off-road. And the Himalayan was the perfect bike for the job. It's a little 400cc adventure bike that costs $5,000 brand new. It's got no bells or whistles, but it's essentially a tractor. It'll go anywhere, it just won't get there very fast. And so I counted down the months and weeks and days until the trip. I'm used to traveling alone or with just one or two close friends, and I love to personally plan every single detail of a road trip. So this was going to be a very different kind of adventure for me. I would be riding with a group of complete strangers, following a route that I had no part in planning myself, but it turned out to be one of the best experiences of my entire life. The first day, we headed south from Anchorage on a road that would set the tone for the entire trip. And there are so many absolutely breathtakingly beautiful roads in Alaska that we will for sure head back there on future episodes. But today we're focusing on the road that made me fall in love with Alaska on that first day, and that's the Seward Highway. I've talked to a few people who've spent time in Alaska, and everyone seems to agree that it's a place that changes something about you. I felt it almost instantly. It's rugged and wild and vast. Even in the summer, the weather can be harsh and unforgiving. And so much of this massive state is remote wilderness that's not even accessible by road. But even the parts you can easily access are so often spectacular. The Seward Highway runs 125 miles from Anchorage down to Seward, which is a port city located in southern Alaska on the Kenai Peninsula. And let's talk for a minute about scenic roads. The Federal Highway Administration has a list of roads that have been designated National Scenic Byways. This is a greater honor than just being a state scenic byway, and to even be considered as a national scenic byway, a road has to meet at least one of 6 criteria. It has to be archaeological, cultural, historic, natural, recreational, and/or scenic. Then the next level up is an all-American road, and those have to meet at least 2 of those 6 criteria. There are 150 national scenic byways in the U.S., but there are only 37 all-American roads. This means that all-American roads are essentially the absolute best of the best when it comes to scenic drives. Okay, why am I telling you all of this? It's because the Seward Highway is an all-American road, and I need you to know just how spectacular it is. Almost as soon as you get out of Anchorage, the scenery starts to get really epic. The road runs right along the shoreline of Turnagain Arm, which is a 40-something mile long waterway into the Gulf of Alaska. On one side of the road are these steep cliffs covered in greenery with waterfalls trickling down into streams, and on the other side, the Turnagain Arm is flanked by snow-covered mountains and dramatic fjords, and if you're lucky enough to ride this road on a somewhat sunny day, it is absolutely breathtaking. This scenery was my first taste of Alaska outside of Anchorage, and it completely blew me away. I think our whole group felt the same way, so we pulled over at Beluga Point, which is one of the first big viewpoints along the road, to take photos and just soak in the scenery. If I had to describe what Alaska looks like in only 3 words, I would say that it's blue, white, and green. Blue sky and water, white clouds and mountains, and everything else is green. Which is no surprise because it rains here a lot. We got really lucky this first day on the road because it didn't rain, but that luck didn't last long. You can easily make the ride from Anchorage to Seward in one day, even with several stops along the way, but our group took a slightly different route. About 90 miles south of Anchorage, the Seward Highway, which up until this point is also called Highway 1, splits off into 2 directions. So Highway 1 continues all the way down to Homer on the southern tip of the Kenai Peninsula, and the Seward Highway becomes Highway 9 and it continues for another 35 miles to Seward. I recommend following along on a map here to get a better picture of where we are. But both Highway 1 and Highway 9 are incredibly beautiful, and if you're visiting southern Alaska, I highly suggest riding both of them all the way through. Before getting to the split, we made several stops and little detours along the way. We stopped at the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, which is a wildlife refuge right off the Seward Highway. We saw bears and bison and these adorable baby musk oxen. And we took a detour to Portage Lake, an incredibly scenic lake with a glacier on one end. And then we went on a slightly longer side quest up to this tiny town called Hope, population 79. This is an old gold rush town that sits across the Turnagain Arm from the first part of the Seward Highway. We were standing by the water, looking out over the mountains when we saw our very first bald eagle of the trip. It flew in circles above us, and it felt like the perfect sign on the first day of our big Alaska adventure. There's so much more to explore on the Kenai Peninsula, and I'll talk a lot more about this area and some other parts of Alaska with my guests in just a few. Don't go anywhere. I am here with Marcus and Michelle of Alaska Motorcycle Adventures. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Scenic Ride.
Hey, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Alaska Motorcycle Adventures and what you guys do.
So Alaska Motorcycle Adventures is 30 years in the running this year. And we rent motorcycles to people from all over the world to ride around Alaska and the Yukon.
And you guys only do rentals, no tours?
So we rent motorcycles to people to come, and we can help put together a custom route for them. Or we also work with international tour groups that come and bring their own guide. And we're really hoping to work into our own tours soon.
That's amazing. How did you guys end up owning this company? Because I know it's been around for a long time, but I don't think you guys started it.
We did not start it.
No.
But it was, I would say, five six years ago now, I guess, we knew the previous owners. They were getting ready to retire, and of course, wanting to pass along this great business to someone. So, it's just the classic turning your passion into your business, and took that opportunity to take over the business and do some hands-on training with them and just work alongside them, which was great.
That's great. And how many bikes do you have in your fleet?
We currently have 16 in our fleet.
All kinds of bikes, or it's mostly BMWs?
It's primarily BMWs. We've run Kawasaki, Hondas,
Honda Africa Twins,
Royal Enfields, but it seems like it's the BMWs that are the most popular. And so we're
especially with the European market, that seems to be the bike of choice for most of the tour groups that come over.
Is that who your typical customer is?
If we're talking about tour groups, yes, for sure. If we're talking about a group of people coming in, friends and whatnot, generally it's a large portion of that clientele is coming up from lower 48.
And what is the season like? Because I am assuming that you don't do this year round.
No. Pretty short.
It is a relatively short season. So our season runs from mid-May till mid-September.
So it's just getting started.
So we are just gearing up.
I think I saw on Instagram that you had your first rental of the season.
We had our first rental a little bit early. We had a local rider who was really itching to get out. He had some other things on the go and just said, "Can I please just get out there?" And for a few days before a surgery and a bunch of things so we're happy to accommodate and get him on the road.
That's great. What is the weather like right now? You guys are in Anchorage, right?
We run out of Anchorage. We live in the valley, but
I still have snow in my yard that I have to try and get away. Yeah, get rid of.
Daytime temperatures are reaching around 55. Nighttime, obviously a little bit cooler. I don't think we've had frost the last few days. But
okay.
But the roads are clear,
yeah.
and they actually got the street sweepers out now too. So yeah, we're seeing more and more bikes out on the road all the time.
That's great. So it's motorcycle season in Alaska.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Absolutely.
So Marcus, we actually met in person when I was up there on the Royal Enfield trip a few years ago.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting involved in that trip?
Well, it really came down to Andrew at the motorcycle shop, and so Bree and Andrew were talking back and forth, and so he knew that the tour group was going to be coming around, and through Hatcher Pass area, he knew that we lived out here, and he also knew that we were looking for a bike to replace the Kawasaki KLR 650 in the end term, and we had looked at the Himalayans and we kind of thought, hey, these are great little intro bike and into adventure. And so Michelle ended up buying one, a personal bike for her, and we bought a couple for our rental fleet. And so we had brand new Himalayan sitting in the driveway. And if you recall, you guys were driving past, and I was waiting on the corner, and I hooked up to you guys then. So that was it. That's how I became your tour guide for 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it took us to get through Hatcher Pass.
Yeah, it was Hatcher Pass. And did you take us on Archangel Road?
Yeah, I did. Took you up Archangel. Good memory.
Yeah, I actually have a terrible memory. I had to go through some of my, footage from the trip and look on a map. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's where we were. But it was beautiful up there. Yeah,
that's one thing about Alaska. It seems like no matter where you go, there's some spectacular scenery, and I'm sure you experienced that in your 12-day tour. Was it that you were riding through Alaska?
Yeah, I think it was about 12 days. And really every morning I woke up thinking there's no way today is going to be more epic than yesterday. And every day it was more epic somehow. Yeah. Like, it is truly magical up there.
It is. That's one thing that we love about Alaska for sure.
Yeah. How do you like the Himalayas, by the way?
We still love those bikes. They're a great bike, but unfortunately, they just weren't ticking the box off for a number of our clients. We had a few repeat clients who would come back, and we'd talk to them about the bike, and they were interested in it, and so they would hop on it, and away they'd go. But yeah, there just hasn't been the interest that we thought there might be. It's one of those things, if you come into renting the Himalayan and realizing that you're not going anywhere fast and you just want to kick back and enjoy the scenery, then that's definitely it's just a cool bike to ride for sure.
I thought it was perfect for Alaska because we weren't trying to go anywhere fast. We were really trying to do some like little offshoot trail riding and, really just go slow and take in the scenery. So I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. And for doing that kind of stuff, like it is a great, all around, bike to do those types of things. And, one client that we had who had come back and hopped on that bike, they were down by Homer there, on Anchor Point, and they were riding the beach with another gentleman who didn't enjoy it. Was when he had to stop and help the other guy get unstuck on the beach. So
is that so we did also ride on the beach down by Homer, and we took this like very steep twisty dirt road to get down to the beach, and this like I think it was like an Orthodox Russian community or something.
Oh yeah.
Is that the same area you were talking about?
No, Anchor Point. You have to go through Anchor Point to get down to Homer, and so Anchor Point is actually the furthest west highway on the U.S. highway system that you can get.
Yeah, I'm looking on a map right now. I see it.
So they launch boats out of Anchor Point to do some fishing and that type of thing. So yeah, they just happen to be out there. They happen to meet up with one another, and yeah. So like I say, he didn't have any problem with the bike riding the beach, and the only comment that he had was, for his style of riding, he likes to go just a little bit faster. So
yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Seward Highway, because that was on our trip. That was our very first day on the road. The first like real taste of Alaska was getting to just like you leave Anchorage and it immediately just opens up to the views of Turnagain Arm, and it's so spectacular. Do you get tired of it ever?
Never.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's just always a highlight to ride down there. There's so many things you can do off of the Seward Highway, so many stops, and we'll just sometimes just ride down to Seward just to have lunch and come back because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys get to go out and do riding during the summer too? Or are you too busy, getting other people on bikes?
A lot of times we're just too busy getting other people on bikes, but yeah. we do try and get out on our own as well.
We're currently actually riding our personal bikes up from the lower 48. So we started in Quartzsite, Arizona. We made them up to Boise, and when one of our tour groups come in August, we're gonna head down and ride up the rest of the way. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's Seward Highway, especially when you come out of Anchorage and you turn the corner going by Potter's Marsh, and it opens up so that you get to see all of Turnagain Arm, and yeah, it is really epic. It's a road that you never get tired of driving down, and if we're not riding, we're in our truck heading down to go do something. It's just going to Girdwood to go to the brew pub there or whatever. It's just fun to get away, and it's so quick and easy. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, so the whole highway I think is only 127 miles. So like you said, you can do it, just go down for lunch and come back. But is that I'm assuming for someone who's never been before, you would recommend maybe taking your time and not just going down for lunch?
Oh yeah. there's so many cool little places to just jump off. So you can get down. One of the first pull-offs that you can do is Beluga Point, and so you have the opportunity, depending on the season and whatnot, where you'll end up potentially seeing beluga whales, or the turning an arm, the famous boar tide that comes in at times. So you have that. There's Indian Valley Road, Valley Road, and there's an old mine in the back there that you can go check out. Going down to Portage Glacier. Sorry, the French is coming out. Portage Glacier, and the road to Whittier there. It's a cool little jump off as well, and it's only a few miles away. So driving through the tunnel, did you guys get a chance to drive through the Whittier tunnel?
No, we did go to the Portage Road. We didn't go to see the glacier and the lake out there, but we did not go through the tunnel for some reason. So I actually wanted to ask about that because I heard it was pretty cool.
It is pretty awesome. I mean, there's not too many places. I don't think there's anywhere else in North America where you can actually ride in between the train tracks to get to the other side of the mountain, go through the tunnel. And it's 2.5 miles, and it's an interesting experience, and you're definitely looking forward to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Is it sketchy?
If you listen to some of the people, while you're buying your ticket to get through the tunnel, yeah, it can be pretty sketchy. So, there's generally they hold the bikes to the very end, let the cars go through, and then they'll let all the bikes go through. So that's just in case somebody gets nervous and wads up the bike, and they have to come and rescue them. So yeah, when you're going into Whittier, you do it at the bottom of the hour, so on the 30s, and then when you come out of Whittier, you have to do it on top of the hour there. So
interesting. Yeah, maybe that's why we didn't go, because this all sounds like it sounds a little scary. Maybe if you're not if you don't know what you're in for, and
you just got to remember, look down the tracks, right? Look up, look down, keep on breathing. You'll be good.
Whittier is a really cool little place. It's at port, and there's lots of little shops and restaurants, and you can take the ferry there through Prince William Sound, which is absolutely magical. One of our favorite trips that we've done on motorcycle would be to hit the ferry at Whittier and take it to Valdez and do the loop around back into Anchorage.
So you can bring your bike on the ferry.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So that's another spot that I really wanted to talk about, because it's really hard when it comes to Alaska, because there's so many epic places and you can't cram it all into just one conversation or one episode. So I'm absolutely going to have to do more episodes on Alaska, but Valdez is just so beautiful. Just like the waterfalls everywhere and the greenery. It just looks like something straight out of a fairy tale.
Yeah.
So that's a really good advice to do the loop then, because then you get Seward Highway, you get like that first part of it coming out of Anchorage that is just so epic. Then you go through this interesting tunnel, and then you get on a ferry and go up to this magical town full of waterfalls. That sounds like a really great road trip.
It is.
Absolutely. And then you got Keystone Canyon and Worthington Glacier, Thompson Pass as you're climbing out of Valdez. And then, of course, the Glen Highway through Eureka and just beautiful alpine meadows. And then as you're coming closer to Palmer, you've got this great curvy roads, big sweeping turns, and
you really can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with that.
No, if you only had 2 or 3 days up in Alaska to check out the quintessential Alaska, I think that would be the thing that we'd recommend most.
That's good. That was actually literally one of my questions that I had written down. If people only had, a few days in Alaska, where should they go? So that's really great advice. If we go back down to the Kenai Peninsula and the Seward Highway, have you guys spent any time in Kenai Fjords National Park at all?
Not not a whole lot, like as if you're talking about camping or, doing that kind of stuff. We have, we've done our obligatory tourism phase when we first came up to Alaska, and so we spent some time in Seward as a family, but then we also did some of the main attractions that you'd want to do if once you got there. And so taking one of the marine tours out into Resurrection Bay and Prince William Sound, that type of thing it is definitely epic to do when you're down there. So there's something about it when you can go and spend 4 hours and see killer whales and humpback whales and Dall's porpoises and seals and you name it. Like it's epic.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm personally on this never ending, it feels like, quest to visit all national parks. And I'm trying to do it by motorcycle as much as possible. But in Alaska, it's obviously hard because there's 8 national parks in Alaska, and I believe only 3 you can actually access by personal vehicle.
Yeah.
So we did go to Kenai Fjords. We rode into the park in absolutely pouring rain. We were all completely soaked, Alaskan summer weather. And then,
Sounds about right.
yeah, we hiked out to the exit glacier in, our soaking wet riding gear. And it was absolutely beautiful. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was very, very much the quintessential Alaska motorcycle experience, I think.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of rain.
Yeah, it's kind of for some folks it's kind of disappointing when they do come up because really Alaskan summer is there's a lot of rain associated to it, and so if people are coming up and wanting to see Mount
They want to see Denali.
Denali Mountain, those types of things, or do a flight seeing tour, the odds are against them, but it's still well worth coming in and checking it out for sure because there's so much else to see up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still beautiful even when it's cloudy. We did not get to see Denali. We were right there. We saw where it should have been, but it was covered by clouds. And we rode the Denali Highway too, which was also really beautiful. And it's just, I think the weather is just part of it, just like the mosquitoes are part of it as well.
That's part of the adventure, right?
Yeah, it is.
And what should cause people to come back for more.
I'm always plotting how can I make it back to Alaska. That is always on my list. So absolutely.
That's awesome.
Do you guys have any fun rides planned for the summer yourselves?
Well, around Alaska, it'll be we have some new bikes in the fleet, so we got to put some miles on. So when we do that, we head out to Talkeetna, which is just north of the Matsu Valley. We'll no doubt head down to Seward sometime during the year.
Homer
and Homer. We always like to try and get down to Homer. One of the extensions off of Seward Highway is to go to Hope. So it's a cool little mining town, turn of the century mining town that still has some folks there. To chill with some friends and do some riding, quick rides, day rides, that kind of stuff.
That's great. Yeah, we rode out to Hope too. We did that as a little detour. That was really beautiful. I think that was also on day 1 or maybe day 2 of the trip. And as soon as we got out there on just the open bay in front of you and the views, I guess, of Turnagain Arm from the opposite side of Seward Highway.
Yeah.
And there was a bald eagle circling above us. And that was our first eagle of the trip. So we were all just like, wow, we are in Alaska. This is amazing.
Did you guys get up to what's that road? Palmer
Creek Road.
Palmer Creek Road. Did you do that when you were in Hope?
I don't think so. I'd have to look at a map, but tell me about it.
It basically, you go through one of the campground areas at the end of the road to Hope, and basically it takes you up, gives you some elevation, and goes into the back end of this tight little valley, and then when you turn around and come back out, you get this wonderful scene of turning an arm from a little bit of elevation. So it's just cool little ride, cool little destination. But some of the scenery when you come back out is pretty spectacular. So
Yeah, I don't think we did that, but I will add it to my list for next time for sure. Other than just like scenic roads and offshoots and little towns, are there any just like stops that you have, like must eat restaurants, or any stops that you absolutely should go to if you're hungry or thirsty? I'd say in the Kenai Peninsula, but especially off Seward Highway.
In Seward, one of our favorites is Seward Brewing Company. They always have good food. It's always, like I said, if you ride down for the afternoon or whatever, that's definitely one of our favorite spots. There's a couple of really great restaurants in Hope. And to give you the kind of sense of community there, they were having, I think it was last summer, they were having trouble with staffing. So they were choosing which day which restaurant would be open. And so they were just helping each other out and switching back and forth. Yeah. And so I just feel like that's just such an Alaskan thing, such a great show of community.
Yeah.
One of the things on my list of places I absolutely wanted to visit before I went to Alaska was the Salty Dog Saloon.
Oh, yeah.
It's also down there in Homer. And it's just such an unlikely place to find like a dollar bill dive bar.
Yeah.
But is that a touristy spot, or do you think that's like actually a cool spot to visit?
Homer is a great spot to visit.
We love Homer.
The spit it's so unique unto itself. Just the land formation jutting out, some beautiful views, and
Kachemak Bay. Yeah. It's a beautiful place for sure.
Talking about Alaska, like you said, we just keep saying it's beautiful, but it's true. It's like everywhere you turn, there's just one vista that's even more beautiful than the last. And Homer definitely doesn't disappoint for that.
Another thing I think that people maybe who live in the lower 48 don't really realize is how long the days are in the summer. I grew up in Northern Europe. I'm from Sweden. And so we have the same, like I grew up with really long days where the sun doesn't really set at all, or does for maybe a few hours, and then it comes right back up in the summer. And I love that. But I've been in the US for so long that I kind of forgot about it. And so when we got to Alaska, we just like could not stop riding because we didn't realize it was 11 p.m. and we were just like in Homer, just cruising down the street, and it was still daylight out. We just didn't want to stop.
Yeah, that can be a hazard up when you're riding in Alaska for sure, because you do have so much sunlight out, or daylight, right? And where you can put the miles on. And that, I think that's the other thing that probably most people come to realize pretty quick is that there's a lot of distance between some of the destination spots that you want to hit. And so just making sure that you're planning accordingly, taking the breaks along the way that you need to. It's all right if you want to ride all day, to get from one place to the other. Just make sure you stop and enjoy some of the scenery around, and some of the cool little spots that you can hit along the way. And you have a lot of hours in the day, so you can do that and just enjoy yourself. Take it all in with whatever you're blessed with on that day that you're there. So
that's great advice. And I think it's also nice to know that a place that has a short riding season kind of makes up for it by having really long days. So you can still cram a lot of riding in if you really want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you guys about. Is there anything else either of you want to add?
We can get back to you with some restaurants and stuff like that. I wasn't ready for that question. That was pretty good.
Yeah, there are just really great there are really great restaurants and things, and more popping up all the time. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting for us too, even as we're going through to find the new places and be able to recommend them.
Yeah, and as we're trying to set up our own tours, right? You got to do that R&D. Like,
I mean, it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
That's right.
Ride motorcycles to eat good food and see cool places just to test it out. That's not a bad job.
Yeah, pretty awesome. and you get to meet some really cool people along the way too, right? So the that one trip, that hopping on the ferry going from Whittier to Valdez, so it's a 6.5 hour ferry ride, and we met an older couple on there from Chicago, and their battery in their camera had run out, and so we had similar cameras, so I gave him one of my spares, and we got to talking, and I'm asking the guy, like, what brought you up to Alaska? Were you here to visit family, friends? He's like, nope. He goes, this is the culmination of a 40-year lifelong dream. And I'm like, oh, even telling that story now, like I got choked up then, I get choked up now to think that, man, it's taken this couple 40 years to get up here, and we live here. Just how fortunate and blessed we are. So that's how we approach Alaska.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm just like, I can't believe people actually live there. That is so amazing. You could just go outside and you're in Alaska. That's so cool.
It's pretty awesome. And there's still the Southeast that we need to explore too. So one of these days we'll get to do that as well.
It is a very big state full of wilderness too.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So if people want to come rent a bike from you or find out about what you're up to, where can they find you?
Well, they can find us. Our website is akmotoadv.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well. And they can reach out that way. We'd love to we call and talk about Alaska, make some plans. It's just really fun. We just enjoy just talking about the state. So
yeah. And one of the other things that we do, Sana, is we actually so we own all our bikes outright, and we surplus them before 25,000 miles, and they're kitted out really well. I think if you were on the website, you'd see that's one of our bikes. That's how we kit them out. And so we offer fly-in rides. So because we surplus them, if somebody wants to come up, they're looking for a new ride, and they want to experience Alaska and riding back down to the lower 48, if that's something that they've wanted to do, hey, we're here for you. So we can accommodate as well. So
that's great. That's really good to know. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, this was awesome. It's good seeing you again.
Likewise. That is it for today's episode. Thank you so much to Michelle and Marcus for joining me, and definitely hit them up if you're planning a motorcycle adventure in Alaska. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Happy National Road Trip Day, and enjoy the ride. The Scenic Ride is written and produced by me, Sana Bowman. Our theme music is by Ryan Sin. If you like the show, please rate and review it and tell your friends to listen. For all the latest updates, follow @The Scenic Ride on Instagram and Facebook, or visit thescenicride.com.